Champagne hits your skin before you understand what it means. Cold, sticky, annihilating. Ryan Kaiser empties his glass over my head like snuffing out a cigarette. Because he can. Because I only exist when I serve his amusement. His father watches from the bar and turns away. 200 witnesses raise their phones. By morning, 5 million will have seen my destruction. But one viewer isn't a spectator. Marco Caruso controls the invisible skeleton of this city. And he's just marked a date on his calendar. 72 hours. The Kaisers don't know their empire has already begun crumbling. Neither do I. The iron hisses against white cotton for the third time. Not good enough. I lift the blouse to the light, filtering through my studio apartment window. There, a microscopic wrinkle near the collar. Most people wouldn't notice. But I'm not serving most people tonight. Tonight is the Kaiser Foundation Gala at the Riverside Grand Hotel. Manhattan's wealthiest, people whose net worth could buy my entire building and still have enough left for a yacht. People who notice wrinkles. I press the iron down again, counting to 5. The scent of starch fills my tiny kitchen. It's a smell I've come to associate with survival. Press the uniform, check your makeup, smile but not too much. Exist but don't exist. The invisibility is the point. My phone buzzes. Mama. Misha, did you remember my pills? Guilt twists in my stomach. I'll bring them after work, Ma. Promise. Don't worry about me. You work too hard already. You're worth every hour, Mama. I hang up before she can argue, before she can tell me again that I should find a job with better hours, better pay, better everything, as if jobs like that fall from the sky for women like me, women with community college degrees, and mothers whose dialysis treatments cost more than my monthly rent. The uniform is perfect now. I drape it carefully over my arm. Check my watch. 2 hours until my shift. Enough time to subway to Queens. Drop off medication. Subway back to Manhattan. And arrive at the Riverside Grand with 10 minutes to spare. Enough time to put on the mask I wear every day. The mask that says, I'm fine. I'm grateful. I'm invisible. Tonight, that mask will crack. Tonight, everything changes. I just don't know it yet. The Riverside Grand Hotel is a monument to excess. Crystal chandeliers that cost more than Harvard tuition. Marble imported from Italy. Gold fixtures that probably required a small country's GDP. I've worked here for 4 years, long enough to know every corner, every manager's mood, every unwritten rule. Rule number 1, don't make eye contact with guests unless serving them. Rule number 2, smile, but not too wide. You're pleasant, not a person. Rule number 3, when rich people are cruel, you absorb it. You don't react. You definitely don't defend yourself. Because defending yourself means you think you have rights. And people like me, we're decorative. Functional furniture. We pour champagne and remove plates and exist in the negative space between their conversations. The invisibility isn't accidental. It's survival. I learned this my first week here. A guest. Some hedge fund manager snapped his fingers at me like I was a dog. My coworker Maria saw my face. Don't, she whispered. Just smile and serve him. He snapped his fingers at me. And if you complain, you'll be gone by tomorrow. She squeezed my arm. Trust me, Misha. Invisible is safe. She was right. I've seen 3 servers fired for less. One dared to correct a guest who called her the wrong name. Another didn't move fast enough when summoned. A third, God help her, asked if a guest's behavior toward her was appropriate. Gone. All of them. So I learned. I perfected the art of being present without being seen, of serving without existing, of smiling through insults and absorbing cruelty like it's part of the uniform. Tonight, in the grand ballroom, I move between tables like a ghost, refilling glasses, clearing plates. A pair of hands that appear and disappear. But here's what I've learned about invisibility. It only works when they choose to ignore you, when they decide to see you, when you become their entertainment instead of their servant. There's nowhere to hide. And you learn that being invisible was never safety. It was just the calm before they decided to destroy you for fun. The grand ballroom sparkles like the inside of a jewelry box. 1,500 guests in designer gowns and tailored tuxedos. The combined wealth in this room could end hunger in a small nation. Instead, they're celebrating something. The program says, Kaiser Foundation charitable initiative. But from what I overhear, it's mostly an excuse for Manhattan's elite to see and be seen. I weave through the crowd with a silver tray of champagne flutes. Faces blur together, botoxed foreheads, bleached teeth, watches that cost more than my yearly salary. More champagne. Table 7. My manager Richard Stone hisses, snapping his fingers. Table 7. I suppress a sigh. I've been watching them all night. 5 men in their late 20s, drunk since cocktail hour. Their laughter too loud, their gestures too broad. The kind of entitled that comes from never hearing the word no. The one in the center. Blonde hair. Perfect teeth. A watch I could identify from across the room as a Patek Philippe. Keeps grabbing at passing servers. Not overtly enough to cause a scene, just enough to remind us we're there for his amusement. His name tag reads, Ryan Kaiser. Son of Robert Kaiser, the man whose name is on the building. I approach with my tray. Professional smile, locked in place. Finally, Ryan drawls, not looking at me. Thought we'd die of thirst. My apologies, sir. My voice is neutral. Practiced. As I pour, he leans back in his chair, scrolling through his phone. His friends are recording something, a video of themselves making faces, doing shots. Rich boys playing at being wild. One of them notices my name tag. Sophia, right? He squints. No, wait. Elena. That's pretty. You got a boyfriend, Elena? My jaw tightens. I'm not here to discuss my personal life, sir. Ooh, feisty. They laugh? I bet you do. What's he do? Let me guess. Uber driver? Waiter? Don't react. Don't react. Actually, he's imaginary, I say lightly. Because I'm here working, not speed dating. Wrong answer. Ryan's eyes snap to mine. For the first time tonight, he actually sees me, and something in his expression shifts. Not apologetic. Not embarrassed. Annoyed. Hey, he says. Louder now. I'm just being friendly. You serve us, we make conversation. That's how this works, right? The nearby tables quiet slightly. Heads turn. I set down the champagne bottle, carefully. Have a good evening, gentlemen. I turn to leave. Hey, I'm talking to you. My heart pounds. Rule number 3, when rich people are cruel, you absorb it. But my feet keep moving. Behind me, I hear Ryan stand. Hear his chair scrape. Hear his friends say, dude, let it go. But they're laughing. They think this is funny. What happens next takes 3 seconds. 3 seconds that will replay in my mind for the rest of my life. I feel him move behind me. Hear liquid sloshing. Then, cold. Shockingly, impossibly cold. Champagne hits the back of my head, runs down my neck, soaks into my uniform. Ice cubes scatter across my shoulders, down my back, across the marble floor. The ballroom goes silent. Not quiet. Silent. 500 conversations stop mid-sentence. I stand frozen, champagne dripping from my hair, my carefully pressed uniform plastered to my skin, ice cubes at my feet. And for one horrible moment, I don't understand what happened. Then I hear it. Laughter. Ryan's table is dying. Slapping the table. Holding up phones. Oh my God, dude. Did you get that? Send it to the group chat. My vision blurs. Not from champagne. From something worse. From the moment you realize that, to some people, you're not human. You're a punchline. I look up. Every eye in the ballroom is on me. Women in diamond necklaces gasp delicately, then look away. Men in tuxedos stare at their drinks. A few people have their phones out, recording. No one helps. No one says a word. At the bar, 30 feet away, I see him. Robert Kaiser, Ryan's father. Distinguished silver hair, $1,000 suit. He's watching. Our eyes meet for half a second. Then he turns his back, continues his conversation. Like I don't exist. Like his son didn't just humiliate a woman in front of 500 people. Elena. Richard Stone appears, his face red, but not with anger at Ryan, with anger at me. Break room. Now. But I didn't. Now. I stumble away, champagne squishing in my shoes with every step. Past the staring faces, past the whispers, past Ryan Kaiser and his friends. Still laughing, still recording. In the staff bathroom. I lock the door and stare at my reflection. Champagne has matted my dark hair. My mascara runs in black streaks. The blouse I ironed 3 times is ruined. But worse than any of that, worse than the cold, the wet, the humiliation, is the look in my own eyes. Defeated, erased, destroyed. I don't cry. Crying won't change anything. Instead, I change into my backup uniform with shaking hands, return to my shift with my head down, finish the night like the ghost I'm supposed to be. At midnight, I ride the subway home with damp hair and a smile that feels like it's been painted on with acid. What I don't know, what I can't know, is that someone recorded the whole thing. And in 6 hours, 5 million people will watch my destruction, including one man who doesn't watch injustice quietly, one man who builds cities from the ground up, one man whose name the Kaisers should have learned. But it's too late for that now. I don't check my phone until I'm home. Stupid. Maybe. But I couldn't bear to see messages from coworkers. Pity or worse, silence. My studio apartment is dark, cold. I peel off my uniform, throw it in the trash. No amount of washing will save it. The shower water runs hot enough to burn. I stand under it until the cold feeling finally leaves my bones. When I emerge, wrapped in my bathrobe, I finally look at my phone. 47 missed calls. 63 text messages. My stomach drops. The first message is from Maria. Mija, are you okay? I can't believe what that pendejo did. The second is from another coworker. Elena, I'm so sorry. Do you need anything? The third makes my blood run cold. You're trending on Twitter? No. No, 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 no. I open Twitter with shaking hands. The video is everywhere. Everywhere. Champagne Camarera is trending. The hashtag makes me want to vomit. I watched the video once. Just once. But it's enough. 23 seconds of my humiliation. Recorded from 3 different angles. Ryan, pouring the champagne. My frozen expression. The laughter. Robert Kaiser in the background, turning away. The comments are mixed. This is disgusting. Eat the rich. Imagine thinking you can treat service workers like this. That poor woman. I hope she sues. But then, what did she do to deserve it, though? Probably was rude. Rich people don't just do this for no reason. She's milking her 15 minutes. Probably staged. I close the app. Close my eyes. Try to breathe. It doesn't matter that half the internet is on my side. What matters is that my worst moment, my absolute lowest point, is entertainment for millions. Another text comes through. This one from a number I don't recognize. Marlowe Group regrets the unfortunate incident at last night's charity gala. While we support all service industry workers, preliminary investigations suggest the employee in question behaved unprofessionally toward guests prior to the incident. We take workplace conduct seriously and trust the Riverside Grand Hotel will address this matter appropriately. It's a press release. The Kaisers, because of course Ryan's last name is Kaiser, not Marlowe. I was wrong about that detail through my panic, are blaming me. They're making me the villain. I read it again. And again. The words blur together. Behaved unprofessionally. I declined to discuss my love life. That's unprofessional now. Address this matter appropriately. Translation. Fire her. Bury this. Protect our name. My phone rings. Richard Stone, my manager. I don't answer. He leaves a voicemail. Elena, we need to talk. Come to my office tomorrow at 10. Don't be late. I know what that meeting means. I'm being fired. The Kaisers want it. So it happens. That's how this world works. I consider calling my mother, but it's 2 a.m., and she's probably asleep. And what would I even say? Hi, Mama. Remember that job I have? The one that pays for your dialysis? I'm about to lose it because a rich boy used me as entertainment. No, I can't do that to her. So instead, I pack a bag, throw in clothes, toiletries, my laptop. I text my roommate that I'm staying with my mom for a few days. Then I turn off my phone.
And I run. I don't know that someone is going to watch the video. He?
Marco Caruso. It's 5:30 a.m., and Marco Caruso's morning begins like most mornings. Espresso and the Wall Street Journal. His brownstone in Brooklyn is modest by billionaire standards. No gold fixtures, no imported marble, just solid craftsmanship and space that feels lived in rather than displayed. He's reading an article about construction permits when his phone buzzes. Leon Rossi. his second in command for 20 years. It's 5:45, Marco says by way of greeting. Boss, you need to see something. Leon's voice is tight. I'm sending you a video. It's from the Riverside Grand, last night. Marco frowns. The Riverside Grand is his property. Has been for 8 years, though few people know that. It's one of 36 legitimate businesses in his portfolio: hotels, construction supply companies, waste management firms. The legal face of an empire built on concrete and connections. What happened? Fire? Health code violation? Just watch it. The video arrives. Marco presses play. 23 seconds later, he sets down his coffee with deliberate care. Is that? His voice is quiet. Dangerous. Is that on my property? Yes, boss. The Kaiser Foundation Gala. Happened around 11 p.m. Marco watches the video again. Studies every frame. The young woman, dark hair, white uniform, moving gracefully through her work. Professional, dignified. Then the entitled little bastard behind her. The champagne. The laughter. And in the background, barely visible, Robert Kaiser. Watching. Turning away. Robert Kaiser. The same Robert Kaiser who's been trying to meet with Marco for 3 years. Who needs Marco's cement suppliers? Marco's union connections. Marco's permits to finish his Hudson Yards development. The same Robert Kaiser whose son just humiliated a woman in Marco's hotel. How many views? Marco asks. 5 million and climbing. It's everywhere, boss. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. The news picked it up an hour ago. And the woman, Elena Torres. She's worked at the Riverside for 4 years. Good employee. Never missed a shift. Never a complaint. Marco's jaw tightens. Where is she now? Unknown. She didn't show up for a meeting with management this morning. Turned off her phone. Her roommate says she left but didn't say where. Find her. Boss, I said. Find her. Leon. Marco stands, walks to the window. Outside, Brooklyn is waking up. Garbage trucks rumbling. Commuters streaming toward the subway. Ordinary people. People like Elena Torres. People who build cities, serve food, drive buses, teach children. People who make the world run while the Robert Kaisers of the world take credit. People Marco has spent his entire life protecting. Because 30 years ago he was one of them. And Leon? Yeah, boss. Get me everything on the Kaisers. Every business deal. Every construction project. Every loan. I want to know which banks they use, who their investors are, where they're vulnerable. A pause. You thinking what I think you're thinking. The Kaiser boy humiliated a woman on my property. His father watched and did nothing. Then they put out a press release, blaming her. Marco's voice drops to a whisper. So yes, I'm thinking exactly what you think I'm thinking. They don't know about you, boss. The connection to the hotel. If you move on them, then they'll learn. Marco turns from the window. My mother cleaned houses for people like the Kaisers. Came home with bruises. She said were from falling. She died at 54 from a heart attack because she worked 80 hours a week and couldn't afford proper health care. I know, boss. Elena Torres works in my hotel. She was humiliated on my property. That makes her my responsibility. Pause. Find her, Leon. Today. And send me everything you have on Kaiser's projects by tonight. On it. Marco hangs up and stares at the video one more time. The moment when Elena's face registers what happened. The shock. The humiliation. The way she looks around for help that doesn't come. He knows that look. He's seen it on his mother's face. On the faces of workers the world dismisses as replaceable. The look that says, I don't matter. Well, the Kaisers are about to learn differently. Her personnel file lists an emergency contact. Leon says, spreading papers across Marco's desk. Carmen Torres. Mother. Lives in Queens. Address? Corona. Small apartment near the 7 train. Leon pulls up a photo on his tablet. 60 years old. Chronic kidney disease. Elena pays for her dialysis treatments. Marco's expression darkens, so she can't afford to lose this job. No, boss. Which is probably why she went to her mother's. It's the only place she'd feel safe. Have you confirmed she's there? Drove by this morning. Saw someone matching her description go in around 9 a.m., carrying groceries. Didn't leave. Marco nods slowly. Good. Give me the address. I'm going. Boss, maybe let me handle. No, Marco stands, reaching for his jacket. This one I do myself. Why? She doesn't know you. Might scare her, the owner of the hotel, showing up. Exactly. She needs to know this matters to me, not to some representative. To me. He pauses at the door. What else do we have on the Kaisers? Leon flips through his notes. Kaiser Development Group. 4 major projects currently under construction. Combined value, 1.2 billion. They're leveraged heavily. Short-term construction loans from Chase and Goldman Sachs, with milestone requirements. Which means they miss a deadline. Interest rates spike. Miss multiple deadlines. The banks can call the loans early. And our involvement? Their Hudson Yards tower uses cement from Bronx Concrete Supply, which we control. Their Tribeca development uses steel from Metro Steel. Also ours. Both projects are already 6 weeks behind schedule. Marco smiles. Not a nice smile. So they need us. More than they know, boss. But there's a complication. Which is, Robert Kaiser thinks he's doing business with a contractor named Marco Caruso, who runs a small but reliable construction supply company. He has no idea you're actually the man who controls half the construction supply chain in New York City. Exactly. If you go after him, you blow your cover. Marco considers this. For 15 years, he's maintained his anonymity. Most people think he's just a moderately successful contractor. Even his business partners, the ones who aren't in the family, don't fully understand the scope of his empire. It's safer that way. Fewer questions, fewer problems. But sometimes safety isn't the point. Sometimes you have to remind the world that power doesn't always wear a suit. Then I blow my cover, Marco says quietly. Some things matter more than staying invisible. He leaves Leon staring after him. The apartment building in Corona is exactly what Marco expected. Aging brick. Fire escapes cluttered with plants and laundry. A front door that doesn't quite close all the way. He climbs 3 flights of stairs, carrying a bouquet of white lilies. Apartment 3. He knocks. Footsteps inside. A pause. Then a voice. Female, young, wary. Who is it? Elena Torres? My name is Marco Caruso. I'm the owner of the Riverside Grand Hotel. I need to speak with you. Silence. Then, I'm not interested in signing anything. I'm not here to make you sign anything. I'm here to apologize. Another pause. Longer this time. The door opens 2 inches, held by a chain. Through the gap, he sees her. Elena Torres looks nothing like the composed professional in the video. No makeup, hair pulled into a messy bun, eyes red from crying or lack of sleep, or both. But even exhausted and devastated, there's something in her face that stops him. Dignity. This woman was humiliated in front of millions, blamed by her abusers, and probably about to be fired. But she's not broken. Not yet. How did you find me? Her voice is steady, despite everything. Your emergency contact. I'm sorry for showing up unannounced, but you weren't answering calls from the hotel. Because I assumed they're calling to fire me. No one's firing you. She laughs. Sharp. Bitter. The Kaisers put out a statement saying, I was unprofessional. Your manager left me a voicemail, asking me to come to his office. I'm not stupid, Mr. Caruso. Richard Stone no longer works at the Riverside Grand. The door opens a fraction wider. What? I fired him 3 hours after the video went viral, along with the 2 security supervisors who were in the ballroom and did nothing. Marco meets her eyes. What happened to you was unacceptable. On my property, under my roof. I should have had staff in place who would have defended you. I didn't. That's on me. Elena stares at him, processing. The Kaisers are going to apologize to you, publicly, on camera. His voice hardens. And if they refuse, they're going to learn some very expensive lessons about who actually runs this city. You can't make people like the Kaisers do anything, can't I? Something in his tone makes her pause. Who are you? She asks quietly. Really? Someone who thinks you deserve better than what happened to you. He holds up the lilies. These are for your mother. I understand she's not well. Elena's eyes widen. How do you... Your file. I know it's intrusive, but I wanted to understand the full picture. He pauses. You work double shifts to pay for her dialysis. You've never called in sick. You volunteered for every holiday shift for the last 4 years. Because the tips are better. You read all that in my file? I make it a point to know the people who work for me. Elena, you're not just good at your job, you're essential. And what the Kaisers did to you, his jaw tightens. They treated you like you're disposable, like you don't matter. They're wrong. Elena's hand goes to her mouth. For a moment, Marco thinks she might cry. Instead, she unchains the door, opens it fully. My mother's inside, she says. She doesn't know what happened. She doesn't use the internet. I haven't told her. Then I won't mention it. She leads him into a small, immaculately clean apartment, faded furniture, family photos on every surface. The scent of soup and medicine. On the couch, wrapped in blankets, is an elderly woman with kind eyes and an oxygen tube in her nose. Nisha, who's this? Mama, this is a friend from work. A friend? Carmen Torres looks between them, a small smile forming. A handsome friend. ¿Cómo te llamas? Marco Caruso, señora. It's a pleasure to meet you. He hands her the lilies. For you. Carmen's face lights up. Virios. My favorites. Elena, did you tell him? No, mama. Lucky guess. Carmen takes the flowers. Inhales deeply. Then fixes Marco with a sharp look. The kind only mothers can give. Are you good to my daughter? Marco glances at Elena, sees her mortified expression, and smiles. I'm trying to be, señora. Good. She works too hard. Someone should look after her for a change. Carmen pats the couch. Sit. Tell me about yourself. Mama. He doesn't have time. I have time, Marco says, surprising himself. He sits, and for the next 20 minutes, he talks to Carmen Torres about Brooklyn, about construction, about nothing important and everything that matters. Elena watches from the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, expression unreadable. When he finally stands to leave, Carmen catches his hand. You seem like a good man, Marco Caruso. Not many good men left in this world. There are more than you think, señora. They're just quieter. At the door, Elena walks him out. Why are you doing this? She asks. You don't know me. No, Marco agrees. But I know what happened to you was wrong, and I have the power to make it right. So I will. Just like that? Just like that. She studies his face, searching for something. The Kaisers have money, lawyers, power. So do I. He hands her a card. That's my private number. You need anything, anything at all, you call day or night. Mr. Caruso. Marco. Marco. She says his name carefully, like she's testing it. I don't understand why you care this much. He thinks about his mother. About 30 years of watching the world crush people who couldn't fight back. Let's just say I don't like bullies, he says finally. And the Kaisers are about to learn that. He leaves Elena standing in the doorway, card in hand, looking after him with an expression caught between hope and fear. By the time he reaches his car, he's made 3 decisions. 1. Elena Torres is under his protection now. Anyone who touches her answers to him. 2. The Kaisers will apologize. Publicly. Completely. Or they'll lose everything. 3. He's going to enjoy watching them fall. He calls Leon. Did you find her? Leon asks. I did. And call everyone. We meet Red Hook Warehouse. 8 p.m. What do I tell them? Marco watches Elena's apartment building. Sees her silhouette in the window. Tell them we're going to war. The warehouse in Red Hook officially stores restaurant equipment. Unofficially, it's where Marco holds meetings he doesn't want recorded. By 8 p.m., 7 men sit around a metal table, under fluorescent lights. These are Marco's captains. The men who run his empire's various arms. Tommy Bruno. Union negotiations. 58. Ex-boxer. Scarred knuckles. Victor Chen. City permits and zoning. 35. Civil engineer. Knows every bureaucrat in Manhattan. Joey Falcone. Steel and material supply. 42. Third-generation contractor. Danny Costa. Waste management. 60. Old school. Knows where everybody is buried. Sometimes literally. And Leon Rossi. Marco's right hand. The man who's been with him since the beginning. Marco stands at the head of the table. Behind him, a whiteboard covered in photos. Robert Kaiser. Ryan Kaiser. The Riverside Grand Hotel. The Kaiser Development Group logo. Gentlemen, Marco begins. We have a problem. He tells them about the video, about Elena, about the press release, blaming her. Tommy's the first to speak. So we grab the kid, teach him some manners. Done by morning. No. Boss. With respect, this is simple. Rich boy humiliates a working woman. We make him regret it. Old school. Old school gets us federal attention, Marco says quietly. Kidnapping crosses state lines. FBI gets involved. Every camera in Manhattan gets reviewed. And for what? A spoiled kid with a broken nose? That's not justice. That's satisfaction. Then what do you want? Victor asks. I want them to understand something. Marco turns to the whiteboard. The Kaisers think power comes from money, from buildings with their name on them, from press releases and lawyers and people they can buy. He taps Robert Kaiser's photo. They're wrong. Power comes from foundations, from the concrete under their towers, from the permits that allow them to build, from the unions that actually do the work. Pause. Power comes from people like us, and we're about to remind them. Leon projects a spreadsheet onto the wall. Kaiser Development Group. 4 major projects. Hudson Yards Residential Tower. $340 million. 6 weeks behind schedule. Tribeca Mixed-Use Development. $280 million. Waiting on steel delivery. Queens Waterfront Condos. $420 million. Zoning variance pending. Brooklyn Atlantic Yards Expansion. $380 million. Environmental review in progress. Every single project, Lassone continues, depends on suppliers we control. Cement, steel, permits, union labor. They've been using our networks for 3 years through shell companies. They don't know the shells trace back to us. Because Robert Kaiser thinks I'm just a contractor. Marco adds. He has no idea I'm the contractor, the one who controls whether his buildings go up or fall down. Understanding dawns around the table. You want to choke their supply chain, Danny says slowly. I want to dismantle their empire, brick by brick. Marco's voice is ice. Robert Kaiser watched his son humiliate Elena Torres, did nothing, then blamed her publicly. So he gets to watch his life's work crumble. Slowly enough that he knows exactly who's doing it, fast enough that he can't stop it. How long? Joey asks. 1 week. Maybe less. And the endgame? They apologize, publicly, on camera, to Elena. No qualifications, no excuses, full accountability. Marco pauses, and they pay money to charity. Ownership stakes in their properties. Whatever hurts most. What if they refuse? Tommy asks. Then we push them into bankruptcy and buy their assets at liquidation. Either way, they lose. Victor leans forward. Boss, this is brilliant strategy, but it's also nuclear. Once you start, there's no walking it back. The whole city will know what you did. Good. You've spent 15 years staying invisible, building your network quietly. This exposes everything. I know. Then why? Because some things matter more than staying hidden. Marco's voice is quiet, but absolute. My mother died invisible, worked herself to death for people who didn't know her name. I swore that wouldn't happen to anyone under my protection. Elena Torres works in my hotel. She was attacked on my property. That makes her my responsibility. He looks around the table. So here's how this works. For the next 72 hours, we gather intelligence, every weakness, every pressure point. Then we start squeezing. Simultaneously. No warnings. No mercy. No second chances. Assignments? Leon asks. Marco turns to the whiteboard, marker in hand. Victor, I need their permit timelines. Find every project waiting on city approval. And find me friendly ears in those departments. Easy, Tommy. Union status. Which projects are close to labor disputes we can encourage. Tommy grins. The Hudson Yards site's been grumbling about safety violations. I can turn grumbling into a walkout. Joey, steel and cement delivery schedules. I want to know which shipments are critical, which timelines are tight, which delays would hurt most. On it, Danny. Their financing. Who holds their debt? Who are their investors? Where's the weak link? I'll have it by morning. Marco sets down the marker. Gentlemen, as of this moment, Kaiser Development Group is on life support. They just don't know it yet. The men around the table nod. They've worked with Marco long enough to know. When he moves completely. One more thing, Marco says. Elena Torres doesn't know about any of this. As far as she's concerned, I'm just the hotel owner who fired the manager and offered to help. I want it to stay that way. Why? Leone asks. Because she's been through enough. She doesn't need to know about this side of things. She just needs to see justice done. Marco's expression softens slightly. And because I don't want her involved if this gets messy. You like her, Tommy observes. The girl? Marco doesn't answer immediately. Then, I respect her. She's been dealt a bad hand and she's still standing. Still taking care of her sick mother. Still showing up for work. Pause. People like that deserve protection, and the people who hurt them deserve to pay. The meeting continues for another hour. Assignments distributed. Timelines established. Every detail of the Kaiser Empire mapped and marked for destruction. By 10 p.m., the men file out into the Brooklyn night. Only Leon remains. Boss, you sure about this? About her? About which part? All of it. Going to war over a woman you don't even know. Exposing yourself, risking everything we've built. Marco is quiet for a long moment, staring at Elena's photo on the board. Not the viral video he had Leon get her employee photo. Professional. Dignified. The woman before the world tried to break her. You remember my mother? He asks finally. Of course. Remember the night she came home crying? Some banker's wife accused her of stealing, called her a thief in front of the other staff. My mother was so humiliated, she quit, lost her income for 3 months until she found new work. I remember, I was 16. Couldn't do anything. Couldn't protect her. Couldn't make them pay. Marco turns from the board. I'm not 16 anymore, Leon. And I'm done watching people like the Kaisers destroy people like my mother. Like Elena. Even if it costs you. Especially if it costs me. Because what's the point of all this? He gestures at the warehouse, at the empire implied beyond its walls. If I can't use it to protect the people who need it most. Leon nods slowly. Then let's burn their world down. Not burn. Dismantle, piece by piece, carefully, legally. Marco smiles. So they can't fight back without exposing themselves. He turns off the lights. Locks the warehouse. Tomorrow, the war begins. Tonight, he has one more stop to make. Next morning, Elena's phone rings at 8 a.m. Unknown number. She's been ignoring those for 3 days, but something makes her answer this one. Hello? Elena. It's Marco. Marco Caruso. Her stomach flips. She's been thinking about him since yesterday. About the way he looked at her mother. The way he sat and talked like he had all the time in the world. The way he made her feel for the first time in days. Like maybe everything would be okay. Hi, she manages. I have a proposition. Are you busy this morning? I'm helping my mother. Why? I'd like to take you to breakfast, discuss your future at the riverside. Her heart sinks. Here it comes. The gentle firing. But we have to let you go, but here's severance. Conversation. I don't need breakfast to be fired, Mr. Caruso. Marco. And you're not being fired. You're being promoted. Silence. I'm sorry. What? Breakfast. My treat. There's a diner on Northern Boulevard near your mother's place. Millie's? Meet me there in an hour. Marco. I don't understand. 1 hour. I promise it's good news. He hangs up before she can argue. Elena stares at her phone. Was that your handsome friend? Her mother calls from the living room. Mama, he's not my friend. He's my boss. He can be both. I liked him. He has kind eyes. Elena doesn't respond. Because she liked him too. And that's dangerous. Men like Marco Caruso. Wealthy, powerful, confident. Don't have breakfast with women like her unless they want something. Still, she showers, puts on her nicest jeans and a clean blouse. Tells herself it's not for him, it's for her dignity. She doesn't believe herself. Marco is already in a booth when she arrives. He's dressed casually, dark jeans, a gray sweater, but in civilian clothes, he radiates a kind of controlled power. He stands when he sees her, pulls out her chair. The gesture is so unexpected, so old-fashioned, that she almost laughs. You don't have to do that. My mother raised me right. He waits until she sits, then takes his seat across from her. How's Carmen today? Good. She loved the flowers. Keeps asking when you're coming back. Tell her soon. He smiles. She reminds me of my mother. Tough. No nonsense. Your mother passed away 15 years ago. Heart attack. She was 54. I'm sorry. Me too. He flags the waitress. Order whatever you want. The pancakes here are incredible. They order pancakes for her, eggs for him, coffee for both. When the waitress leaves, Elena leans forward. Okay, why am I here? Because I have an offer, which is, I'm making you assistant manager of the Riverside Grand's restaurant operations. Elena chokes on air. What? You've worked there 4 years. You know every inch of that operation. You're reliable, professional, and you care about quality. Those are rare traits. He sips his coffee. The salary is $75,000 annually. Full benefits, including healthcare that covers dependents. Her mind reels. That's triple what I make now. You've been underpaid for years. I'm a server. I don't have restaurant management experience. You have 4 years of experience watching managers make mistakes. That counts. He leans back. Elena, I'm not offering you charity. I'm offering you a job you're qualified for. But were never given the chance to pursue because you didn't have the right connections or the right last name. She stares at him. Why? Because you deserve it. No. Why are you doing all this? The flowers for my mother? This job offer? She lowers her voice. The way you looked at Ryan Kaiser in that video like you wanted to destroy him. Nobody does this for a stranger. Marco is quiet for a long moment. You're right, he says finally. You're not just a stranger. You're someone who reminds me of why I built what I built. My mother cleaned houses her whole life, worked herself to death for people who treated her like furniture. When she died, I swore I'd never let that happen to anyone under my protection. I'm not your responsibility. You work in my hotel. That makes you exactly my responsibility. The waitress returns with their food. Elena mechanically cuts into her pancakes, mind spinning. What about the Kaisers? She asks quietly. They put out that statement. They'll fight this. They'll apologize. She laughs. Bitter. People like the Kaisers don't apologize. They will when they don't have a choice. Something in his tone makes her look up sharply. What does that mean? It means I'm handling it. How? The less you know, the better. Trust me. I don't even know you. Then get to know me. He meets her eyes. Take the job, Elena. Let me help you. And let me deal with the Kaisers. She wants to say no. Wants to tell him she doesn't need rescuing. That she can fight her own battles. But that would be a lie. The truth is, she's exhausted. The truth is, her mother's dialysis cost $4,000 a month. The truth is, she's been barely surviving for 4 years. And here's this man, this stranger, offering her a life raft. If I say yes, she says slowly, I'm not sleeping with you. This isn't, I'm not. I never thought you were. Marco's voice is firm. This is a job offer, Elena. That's all. Professional. You can even have HR draft the contract if that makes you more comfortable. She searches his face for deception. Finds none. Okay. She says finally, okay, I'll take the job. Good. He slides a folder across the table. Contracts inside. Look it over. Sign when you're ready. You start Monday. She opens the folder with shaking hands. It's all there. Salary. Benefits. Healthcare for dependents. This is real. This is actually happening. Marco, she says quietly. Thank you. You don't need to thank me. You earned this. They eat in comfortable silence. When the check comes, Marco pays before she can reach for her wallet. Outside the diner, he walks her to her car. One more thing, he says. Your mother mentioned she's having trouble getting to her dialysis appointments. Transportation issues. Elena stiffens. How did you? She mentioned it yesterday. Said the paratransit system is unreliable. It's fine. I take her when I can. I'm arranging a car service. It'll take her to and from appointments. 3 times a week. Marco, you can't. It's already done. The service starts Monday. He pulls out his phone, types something. I just sent you the contact information. If there are any issues, you call them. Or call me. Tears burn behind Elena's eyes. She will not cry. She will not. Why? She whispers. Why are you doing all this? Marco looks at her for a long moment. Something in his expression, vulnerable, open, makes her breath catch. Because, he says quietly, Someone should have done it for my mother. And since no one did, I do it for others when I can. He walks away before she can respond. Alina stands in the parking lot, contract in hand, watching him go. And for the first time in 4 days, she thinks, maybe the world isn't entirely full of monsters. Maybe there are still good men in it after all. Victor Chen sits across from Dennis Kwan in a midtown coffee shop. Dennis works for the Department of City Planning. They've known each other since college. So, Victor says casually, stirring his coffee, you remember that favor you owe me? Dennis grimaces. The thing with my brother's construction permits last year. The thing where I made his zoning variance miraculously appear in 3 days instead of 3 months. Yeah, that thing. What do you need? Kaiser Development. Queens Waterfront Project. Dennis goes very still. Victor, their environmental impact review. How's that going? It's proceeding normally. Define normally. Approval, estimated in 4 to 6 weeks. Victor slides an envelope across the table. I'm thinking, maybe it takes longer than that. Dennis doesn't touch the envelope. How much longer? 6 months. Maybe longer if new concerns emerge. Victor, I can't just. Dennis, your brother's restaurant. The one with the secret expansion that should have required new permits. The one I made go away. Victor's voice is pleasant, friendly. That information still exists. In a file, that could resurface. Dennis's jaw tightens. That's blackmail. That's friendship. With terms, Victor stands. The envelope has 5,000 in it. For your daughter's college fund. And all I need is for the Kaiser review to encounter some unexpected complications, wetlands concerns, traffic impact studies, historic preservation questions. You know how these things go. If anyone traces this back, no one will. You're just doing your job. Thoroughly. Carefully. The way good civil servants do. Victor puts on his jacket. Call me when it's done. He leaves Dennis staring at the envelope. Across town, Tommy Bruno walks into a construction trailer at the Hudson Yards site. Mike Harrigan, the site supervisor, looks up from blueprints. Tommy, what brings you here? Checking on the boys. How's the project? Behind schedule. Kaiser's pushing us to pour foundation by Friday. It's tight. Yeah, about that. Tommy sits on the edge of the desk. Where's your cement coming from? Jersey supplier. Bronx Concrete said they were backed up. So Kaiser went around them. Went around them, Tommy repeats. Interesting choice. Had to. Bronx has been delayed for weeks. And this Jersey company. They reliable. So far. Good. Good. Tommy stands. Be a shame if something happened to their trucks, though. Mike goes very still. Tommy. Mechanical failures happen. Transmission problems. Electrical issues. Especially with older fleets. Tommy heads for the door. Anyway, just checking in. Tell the boys I said hi. Tommy. Wait. Tommy pauses in the doorway. Is this about that video? The waitress? I don't know what you're talking about. The Kaiser kid. The champagne. Everyone's seen it. Tommy's expression hardens. Let me tell you something, Mike. I've got 3 daughters. All of them worked service jobs to pay for college. And if some rich prick did to one of them what that Kaiser boy did to that girl, he doesn't finish the sentence. Doesn't need to. So yeah, maybe it's about that. Or maybe it's just business. He leaves. Mike stares after him, then picks up his phone. 10 minutes later, the Jersey cement supplier's trucks begin experiencing mysterious mechanical failures. In Lower Manhattan, Leon Rossi sits across from Rebecca Morrison, a risk analyst at Goldman Sachs. They dated briefly, years ago. Stayed friendly. Thanks for meeting me, Leon says. Of course. Though I have to say, this feels ominous. Rebecca sips her wine. You never call unless you need something. I need information. Kaiser Development Group. Her expression shifts. Professional. Guarded. Leon. Off the record. Friend to friend. There's no such thing as off the record with the banks. Then, on the record, public information. How leveraged are they? Rebecca sighs. Heavily. 4 major projects, all financed with short-term construction loans. The terms require milestone completions every 90 days. And if they miss milestones, interest rate increases. 2 points per missed deadline. And if they miss multiple milestones, We can call the loans early, demand immediate repayment, or restructure at much less favorable terms. Leon nods, slowly. How close are they to missing? Hudson Yards is 6 weeks behind. Tribeca is 3 weeks. If either project experiences additional delays, she doesn't finish the sentence. Goldman gets nervous. Goldman gets very nervous. We have shareholders to answer to. And if someone wanted to buy their debt? Hypothetically? Rebecca's eyes narrow. Who's asking? Just curious about the market. Leon. If you're involved in something. I'm just a contractor asking questions. He stands, leaves cash for the drinks. Thanks for the wine, Becca. Leon. Wait. Whatever you're planning. I'm not planning anything. I'm just watching. Sometimes that's enough. He walks out, leaving Rebecca staring after him with a mixture of concern and suspicion. Robert Kaiser wakes to his phone ringing at 2:47 a.m. What? His voice is rough with sleep. Mr. Kaiser, this is Mike Harrigan at Hudson Yards. We have a problem. Robert sits up, heart pounding. What kind of problem? The cement trucks didn't show up. What do you mean? Didn't show up? We have a pour scheduled for 6 a.m. I know, sir. The Jersey supplier called an hour ago. Said their entire fleet is down. Transmission failures. All of them simultaneously. That's impossible. That's what I said. But they're adamant. Can't deliver until next week at earliest. Robert is fully awake now. Call our backup suppliers. I've been calling for an hour. Everyone's either booked solid or having equipment issues. Equipment issues. Yes, sir. Robert's stomach goes cold. All of them. All of them. He hangs up and immediately calls his COO. Patricia Vance. Patricia. We need to talk. Now. By 9 a.m. Robert sits in his office, staring at a whiteboard covered in problems. Hudson Yards. Cement delivery failed. Pour missed. Penalty. $2 million interest rate increase. Tribeca. Steel delivery, delayed 48 hours. Traffic accident, blocking road. Queens. Environmental review suddenly flagged for additional concerns. Brooklyn. City Council postponed zoning vote. Community feedback issues, all in 72 hours. This isn't coincidence, Patricia says quietly. No, it's not. Robert's hands shake slightly. Someone's coordinating this. Who? A competitor? Maybe. Or... He pulls up his phone, finds the viral video of his son pouring champagne on the waitress. 5 million views now. 10 million. Growing daily. You think this is about that? The timing's too perfect. The video goes viral Sunday. By Wednesday, all our projects are experiencing simultaneous problems. That's insane. What, some catering worker has enough power to disrupt billion-dollar construction projects? Robert doesn't answer, because he's remembering something. A name on a contract. A supplier he's used for 3 years. Morelli Construction Group. Patricia, pull up our supply chain contracts. The ones for Hudson Yards and Tribeca. She types on her laptop. Frowns. These go through shell companies. RV Holdings. Metropolitan Supply. Who owns those companies? Let me check. More typing. Her face goes pale. They all trace back to Morelli Construction Group. Robert's blood turns to ice. Get me everything on Morelli. Everything. Now. Elena starts her new position Monday morning. The staff meeting is awkward. 20 servers and kitchen workers staring at the woman from the viral video. Now suddenly their boss. She addresses it head on. I know what you're thinking. The girl who got champagne poured on her head is now assistant manager. Must be nice. Uncomfortable shifting. You're right. It is nice. But here's what I want you to know. I've been where you are. I've dealt with entitled guests. I've cleaned up messes. I've worked doubles. Because rent was due. I haven't forgotten any of that. She looks around the room. So here's how this works. You respect me. I respect you. You have a problem with a guest. You come to me. You need time off. You ask. No one, and I mean no one, gets treated the way I got treated. That night. Not on my watch. Clear? Slowly. Heads nod. Good. Now get to work. We have a lunch service to prep. As the meeting breaks up, Maria approaches. Misha, look at you. Boss lady. Don't. I'm still processing. That Marco guy. He did this. Yeah. Maria grins. He's single. Maria. What? I'm just asking. He's gorgeous, powerful, and he gave you a promotion after your worst day. That's romance novel territory. It's not like that. Sure, it's not. That's why you've checked your phone 6 times in the last hour. Elena hasn't checked her phone 6 times. She's checked it 9. No messages from Marco. Which is fine. He's her boss now. It would be inappropriate for him to text constantly. Except he's not really her boss. He owns the hotel, but he's not day-to-day management. So would it be inappropriate? God. She sounds like a teenager. Her phone buzzes. Marco, how's the first day going? She types. Good. Staff seems receptive. Marco, they'd be crazy not to be. You're going to be great at this. Marco. Also, your mother's car service starts today. Driver will pick her up at 10 for her appointment. Elena's throat tightens. Elena, thank you. For everything. Marco, stop thanking me. I'm just doing what's right. Marco. Dinner tonight? We should discuss your first week strategy. Her heart does something complicated. Elena, is that appropriate? You're technically my employer. Marco, I'm technically the owner of the building you work in. Your direct supervisor is the general manager. So yes, it's appropriate. Unless you're uncomfortable. Is she uncomfortable? No. She's terrified. Not of him, of how much she wants to say yes. Elena. Okay. Where? Marco, I'll pick you up at 7. Wear something comfortable. Marco picks her up in a BMW that's nice, but not ostentatious. I half expected a limo, Elena says, climbing in. I saved the limo for people I'm trying to impress. He grins. You I figure I can just be myself with. Should I be insulted? You should be relieved. The real me is much less annoying than the impressed people me. He drives them to a small Italian restaurant in Brooklyn. Family-owned red checkered tablecloths. The smell of garlic and fresh bread. This place doesn't look like somewhere a hotel magnate would eat. That's because I'm not a hotel magnate. I'm a guy from Brooklyn who happens to own some buildings. He holds the door. Best pasta in the city. My mother used to bring me here when I was a kid. They're seated in a corner booth. The owner, an elderly man named Sal, greets Marco with a hug. Marco, it's been too long. And who's this beautiful woman? Sal, this is Elena. Elena. Sal makes the carbonara that'll change your life. And I have to try it. Over dinner, they talk. Really talk. Marco asks about her mother. About her childhood. About what she wanted to be when she grew up. A teacher, Elena admits. I wanted to teach elementary school, but college was expensive, and Mom got sick, and she shrugs. Life happened. You could still do it. Go back to school. Maybe. Someday. She twirls pasta on her fork. What about you? Did you always want to be in construction? No. I wanted to be a carpenter. Work with my hands. Build things. But life happened to me too. His expression darkens slightly. My father died when I was 15. Heart attack. Left my mother with nothing. She had to work 3 jobs to keep our apartment. I'm sorry. Me too. But it taught me something important. What's that? That the system's rigged against people like us. People who work hard, play by the rules, and still can't get ahead. So I decided to learn the system, master it, then use it to help people who can't help themselves. Is that what you're doing with me? Helping someone who can't help themselves? He meets her eyes. I'm giving you an opportunity you earned, but were never offered. There's a difference. And the Kaisers? His expression hardens. What about them? You said you'd handle it. What does that mean? It means they're going to apologize to you. How? The less you know, the better. Yeah, you keep saying that. She leans forward. Marco, I appreciate everything you've done, but I'm not a child. If you're doing something that could blow back on me, I deserve to know. He's quiet for a long moment. You're right, he says finally. You do deserve to know. But here's the thing. If I tell you, you become complicit. And I don't want that for you. Complicit in what? In making sure the Kaisers understand that actions have consequences. That's vague. Intentionally so. He reaches across the table, not quite touching her hand. Elena, trust me. Please. What I'm doing is legal. Aggressive, but legal. And when it's done, you'll get the apology you deserve. That's all you need to know. She studies his face. Sees determination. Sees something that might be protectiveness. Sees, maybe, something more. Okay, she says finally. I trust you. Thank you. They finish dinner. Marco pays, despite her protests. In the car, driving back to Queens, he asks, do you believe in justice, Elena? Of course. Real justice. Not legal system justice. Real accountability. I don't know. I want to. But people like the Kaisers never really pay, do they? They're about to. Something in his voice sends chills down her spine. When he drops her off at her mother's building, he walks her to the door. Thank you for tonight, she says. For dinner. For listening. Thank you for giving me a chance to know you. They stand in the doorway. Close, but not touching. Elena thinks he might kiss her. He doesn't. Instead, he says, get some sleep. Tomorrow might be interesting. Why? You'll see. He leaves her standing there, heart pounding, completely confused and utterly captivated. Upstairs, her mother is waiting. Was that your boss? Yes, Mama. He brought you home at 10 p.m. after taking you to dinner. That's not a boss, Mija. That's a man who's interested. It was a work dinner. And I'm the Queen of England. Elena collapses on the couch. Mama, it's complicated. Love usually is. Who said anything about love? Carmen gives her a look. The mother look. The one that says, I wasn't born yesterday. I see the way you talk about him. The way your face lights up when his name comes up. That's not gratitude, Nisha. That's something else. He's my employer. So quit. Work somewhere else. Then he's just a man. It's not that simple. It never is. But sometimes the complicated things are worth it. Elena thinks about Marco, about his quiet intensity, his protectiveness, the way he looked at her like she mattered. Maybe her mother's right. Maybe some complicated things are worth fighting for. Next day, Robert Kaiser's emergency board meeting begins at 8. 12 exhausted executives sit around polished mahogany. Talk to me, Robert demands. What the hell is happening? Patricia pulls up the disaster report. Hudson Yards, 6 weeks behind schedule now. Missed foundation pour. Chase Bank calling daily about penalties. Tribeca. Steel deliveries delayed indefinitely. Supply chain issues. Queens. Environmental review extended to 6 months minimum. New concerns about wetlands. Brooklyn. City council vote postponed. Community groups suddenly very vocal about traffic impact. All of this, Robert says slowly. In 5 days. Yes, someone's coordinating this. Obviously. Who? Silence. Martin Ross, the CFO, clears his throat. I have a theory. Then share it. The waitress. Elena Torres. The waitress doesn't have this kind of power. No, but someone she knows might. Martin pulls up his laptop. I did some research. The Riverside Grand Hotel, officially owned by RV Holdings LLC, which is owned by Metropolitan Real Estate Trust, which is owned by Morelli Construction Group, Patricia finishes. We know. Same company that supplies our cement and steel. Right. So I dug deeper. Morelli Construction isn't just a supplier. They're connected to 12 major construction companies in New York. They control union relationships. They have contacts in city planning, and they're owned by... He pulls up a photo. Marco Caruso. Robert goes very still. That's... He zooms in on the photo. That's the man I've been negotiating with for 3 years. The contractor. He's not a contractor. He's the contractor. Marco Caruso controls more construction supply in New York than any other single entity. Cement, steel, permits, unions. If you build in this city, you go through him. Why didn't we know this? Because he's deliberately quiet about it. Uses shell companies, stays out of the press. But he's been building this network for 15 years. Robert's hands shake. And Elena Torres works in his hotel. Worked, past tense, until your son humiliated her. The pieces click into place. Oh God, Robert whispers. We didn't just humiliate some random waitress. We humiliated someone under Marco Caruso's protection. Looks that way. And now he's dismantling our company. Systematically, surgically, without breaking a single law. Robert stands, paces to the window. Below, Manhattan gleams, his city, his empire. Except it's not his city at all. It's Marco Caruso's. How do we stop him? Robert asks. We can't, Martin says flatly. He controls our supply chain, our permits, our unions. If we sue him, we have to expose the shell company arrangements we've used to avoid taxes. That opens us up to federal investigation. So we're trapped, completely. Robert turns to face the room. Then we do the only thing we can do, which is, we call him, apologize, negotiate terms. You want to surrender? Patricia says. I want to survive. Robert's voice is hollow. Call Morelli. No, call Caruso. His direct line. Tell him Robert Kaiser would like to meet. Marco's phone rings at noon. Unknown number. He answers. Yes, Mr. Caruso. This is Gerald Strauss, attorney for Kaiser Development Group. Marco leans back in his chair, smiling. Mr. Strauss, what can I do for you? My client, Robert Kaiser, would like to request a meeting. Would he now? Yes. At your earliest convenience. To discuss recent complications with our projects. Complications. Interesting word. Mr. Caruso, we're aware that certain supply chain issues and permit delays may be connected to recent events. Are you accusing me of something, counselor? No, not at all. We're simply hoping to open a dialogue. Marco pauses, making him sweat. Tell Mr. Kaiser I'll meet with him. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. My office in Brooklyn. Mr. Kaiser was hoping. Brooklyn. My office. 10 a.m. Or don't bother coming at all. Of course, we'll be there. One more thing, Mr. Strauss. Yes? Tell Robert to bring his son. This concerns both of them. Marco hangs up. Leon, listening from across the desk, grins. You're enjoying this? Immensely. Marco pulls up his phone, texts Elena. Marco, tomorrow might be interesting. Keep your phone close. Elena, what's happening? Marco, justice. Next day, the warehouse in Brooklyn looks even more unimpressive in daylight. Robert Kaiser and his son Ryan pull up in a Mercedes at 9:55 a.m. This is where we're meeting? Ryan asks. It's a dump. Shut up. Robert's voice is sharp. And let me do all the talking. You've done enough damage. They walk through the warehouse, past construction equipment, up metal stairs. Marco's office is sparse. Metal desk, filing cabinets. One window overlooking the loading dock. And behind the desk, Marco Caruso. He doesn't stand when they enter. Mr. Kaiser. Ryan, sit. Robert sits. Ryan hesitates, then follows. Thank you for meeting with us, Robert begins. I haven't decided if this meeting is worth my time yet. Convince me. Mr. Caruso, we're aware that our recent project difficulties may be related to our business relationship. Your business relationship, Marco corrects. I don't recall having one with you. The supply contracts, through RV Holdings and Metropolitan. Shell companies. I have dozens of them. Why would I remember yours specifically? Robert's jaw tightens. This is humiliation. Deliberate, calculated humiliation. Because we've worked together for 3 years. Because you've supplied cement and steel for 4 major projects. Oh, those contracts. Marco leans back. The ones where you tried to go around my suppliers last week for the Hudson Yards pour. We were told Bronx Concrete was backed up. They were backed up because I told them to be. Marco's voice drops. Because you and your son disrespected someone under my protection. Robert goes pale. The waitress, Elena Torres. Her name is Elena Torres. And she's not just the waitress. She's a woman who worked for 4 years without complaint, who takes care of her sick mother, who does her job with dignity. Marco's eyes are ice. Until your son decided to humiliate her for entertainment. Ryan shifts uncomfortably. Look, I was drunk. It was a stupid joke. It wasn't a joke. Marco's voice cuts like a blade. A joke is something everyone laughs at. What you did was cruelty, public degradation of someone who couldn't fight back. I've already apologized. No, you haven't. You put out a press release blaming her, said she was unprofessional. Marco stands, walks to the window. Do you know what happened after that press release, Ryan? The video went viral. Elena Torres hid in her mother's apartment for 4 days. Turned off her phone, thought her life was over. Because you, he turns, and you, looking at Robert, decided she was disposable. Robert clears his throat. Mr. Caruso, we came here to make things right. Did you? Yes. What would it take? Financially, I mean, to resolve this situation. You think this is about money? Everything's about money. Marco laughs, cold, mirthless. You really don't understand, do you? Understand what? Why you're losing. Marco returns to his desk, sits. You think power comes from buildings with your name on them? From press releases and lawyers? From money in your bank account? He leans forward. But power, real power, comes from the people who actually build those buildings. From the cement mixers and steel workers. From the city officials who approve your permits. From the unions who show up every day. He lets that sink in. And all of those people, they work for me. Not for you. Me. Robert's face has gone ashen. What do you want? I want you to understand something first. Marco pulls out his phone, plays a video. It's Elena, in the break room of the Riverside Grand, champagne dripping from her hair, trying not to cry. That woman has more dignity in her little finger than both of you have in your entire bodies. And you destroyed her for fun. He stops the video. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to apologize. Publicly. On camera. No politicians, no excuses, no corporate speak. You're going to own what you did. Fine, Robert says quickly. We'll do a press conference. I'm not finished. Marco's voice hardens. Second, you're going to donate $50 million to the Hospitality Workers Relief Fund, a charity that helps service industry workers dealing with harassment and abuse. Robert flinches. 50 million. Third, you're transferring 15% ownership of your Hudson Yards tower to one of my investment entities, non-voting shares. But I want a piece of what I helped you build. That's worth $80 million. I know. Marco's expression doesn't change. Consider it the price of doing business with someone you disrespected. That's. No. Extortion would be if I threatened you. I'm not threatening. I'm stating terms. You accept them, your supply chains resume. Your permits move forward, your projects finish. You refuse, he shrugs. Your company goes bankrupt in 30 days. I buy your assets at liquidation prices. Either way, I win. This way, you survive. Robert looks at his son. Ryan's face is pale, shocked. There has to be another way. There isn't, Marco stands. You have until tomorrow at noon to decide. Press conference announcing your apology, or I pull every supply contract you have. Your choice. What about him? Robert gestures at Ryan. What happens to my son? Marco's eyes lock on Ryan. He disappears. What? No more public events. No more parties that end up on social media. No more representing Kaiser Development. He works behind the scenes, invisible, just like he made Elena invisible. For how long? Until I say otherwise. Could be a year. Could be 5. Could be forever. Marco's smile is sharp. Think of it as a learning experience. He wanted to teach Elena about humiliation. Now he learns. Ryan's face flushes red. You can't. I can. And I am. Marco walks to the door, opens it. You're dismissed. Tell your lawyers to draw up the paperwork. I want everything signed by tomorrow morning. Robert stands on shaking legs. Mr. Caruso, please, there must be some room for negotiation. There isn't. You had your chance to negotiate 4 years ago when you started using my suppliers. You had another chance last week when your son poured champagne on Elena's head. You could have fired him, issued a real apology, done the right thing. He pauses, but you chose to protect him instead. To blame her. So now you pay the price. Robert nods slowly. Defeated. We'll have the paperwork ready. Good. One more thing. Yes. Elena doesn't know about any of this. About me. About what I've done. As far as she's concerned, you decided to apologize because it was the right thing to do. I want it to stay that way. Why? Because she's been through enough. She doesn't need to know about this side of my business. She just needs to see justice done. Robert studies Marco's face. Understanding dawns. You care about her. I respect her. There's a difference. Is there? Marco doesn't answer. Robert leaves with Ryan trailing behind. In the car, Ryan explodes. Dad, you can't actually agree to this. It's insane. Shut up. But I said shut up. Robert's voice cracks. Do you understand what you've done? What you've cost this family? It was just a stupid prank. That stupid prank is costing us $130 million. Plus our reputation. Plus your future. Robert's hands shake on the steering wheel. And it's not just the money, it's what it represents. What? That we're not untouchable. That there are people in this world with more power than us. People we can't buy or intimidate or push around. He looks at his son. You humiliated the wrong person, Ryan. And now we all pay for it. Ryan stares out the window, finally understanding. He destroyed a woman for fun, and it destroyed his family in return. Elena is closing up the restaurant when her phone rings. Marco, her heart does that stupid flip thing again. Hi, she answers, trying to sound casual. Hi, how was your day? Good. Busy. We had a private party that ran late. You sound tired. I am, but it's a good tired. The kind where you actually accomplished something. I'm glad. Pause. Can I see you tomorrow? Tomorrow? I have the morning shift. After? Around noon. It's important. Something in his voice makes her nervous. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. Better than fine, actually. Just trust me. Noon tomorrow. I'll pick you up from the hotel. Marco, you're being mysterious. I know. I'm sorry. But tomorrow, you'll understand everything. They talk for another 20 minutes. About nothing. About everything. About her mother's dialysis appointment, which went well. The car service was perfect. About his day, vague, but she's getting used to that. About a movie he thinks she'd like. When they finally hang up, Elena realizes she's been smiling for 20 minutes straight. Maria appears from the kitchen. That grin on your face. That's him, isn't it? I don't have a grin. Girl, you're glowing. You've got it bad. I don't have anything. We're just friends. Friends who have dinner together. Friends who call each other every night. Friends who... Okay, fine. Maybe I like him. A little. A little. Maria snorts. You're falling for him, Misha. I barely know him. Sometimes that's when it happens. When you're not looking. When someone just... Maria snaps her fingers, shows up, and changes everything. Elena thinks about Marco. About the way he looked at her mother with genuine respect. The way he talks to her like she matters. The way he promised to make things right and then actually did it. He's too good to be true, Elena says quietly. Men like him don't exist. Men like him are rare. But they exist. Maria squeezes her shoulder. Don't talk yourself out of it before it even starts. That night, lying in bed at her mother's apartment, Elena can't sleep. Tomorrow, Marco said. You'll understand everything tomorrow. What does that mean? Her phone buzzes. A text. Marco, are you awake? Elena. Can't sleep. Marco. Me neither. Elena. What's happening tomorrow? Marco. Something good. I promise. Elena. You promise a lot of things. Marco. And have I broken any of them? She thinks about that. No. He hasn't. Elena. No. You haven't. Marco. Then trust me one more day. Elena. Okay. Marco. Good night, Elena. Elena. Good night, Marco. She falls asleep with her phone in her hand. And for the first time in a week, she dreams of something other than champagne and humiliation. She dreams of a man with kind eyes and dangerous promises. A man who might be exactly what he seems. Or might be something else entirely. Next day, the Kaiser Development Group offices are chaos. Lawyers everywhere, executives shouting into phones. Martin pulling his hair out over spreadsheets. Patricia bursts into Robert's office. Goldman called. They're conducting an emergency review of our loan portfolio. What? Why? Because word got out that we're in trouble. Someone leaked it to Real Estate Weekly. Now the entire industry knows we're experiencing operational difficulties. Robert's stomach drops. Who leaked it? Does it matter? The damage is done. She throws a newspaper on his desk. Page 3. The headline reads, Kaiser Development faces perfect storm, supply delays, permit issues and viral scandal. The article details everything. The construction, delays, the missed milestones, the viral video, the whispers of instability. Our stock is down 14%. Patricia continues. 3 investors pulled out of the Queen's project this morning. Chase is asking for additional collateral. How much? 50 million. We don't have 50 million liquid. I know. Patricia sits down heavily. Robert, we need to sign Caruso's deal. Now, before this gets worse. I'm aware. He picks up his phone. Call Gerald. Tell him to finalize the paperwork. We're signing everything this afternoon. And the press conference, scheduled for tomorrow, noon, will issue an apology. Transfer the money. Give him the ownership stake. His voice is hollow. We'll do whatever it takes to survive. Patricia nods and leaves. Robert sits alone in his office, staring at the photo on his desk. His father, the man who built Kaiser Development from nothing. I'm sorry, Dad, he whispers. I'm so sorry. His door bursts open. Ryan storms in. I'm not doing it. Doing what? The disappearing act. The hiding. I'm not spending the next 5 years in some basement office because you'll do exactly what Caruso says, or you're out. Ryan freezes. What? You heard me. You agree to his terms, or I cut you off, completely. No trust fund, no job, no apartment, nothing. Dad, you did this, Ryan. Your actions, your choices, your cruelty. Robert's voice cracks. And now we're all paying for it. So you will accept your punishment with grace, or you're on your own. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious in my life. They stare at each other. Father and son, both broken by one stupid, cruel decision. Fine, Ryan says finally. I'll disappear. I'll hide. I'll be nobody. Good. Ryan leaves, slamming the door. Robert puts his head in his hands. 30 years of building, of sacrificing, of working. All of it nearly destroyed in 1 week by a man he never saw coming. Marco picks up Elena at exactly noon. She climbs into his car, nervous. Okay, I'm here. Now tell me what this is about. You'll see. He drives toward Manhattan. Marco, I hate surprises. You'll like this one. They pull up to a nondescript office building in Midtown. Where are we? Conference center. Come on. He leads her inside, up to the 3rd floor, down a hallway. Through the window of a conference room, Elena sees them. Robert Kaiser. Ryan Kaiser. A dozen lawyers and executives. Her blood runs cold. Marco, what? They want to talk to you. No. She backs away. I'm not going in there. I can't. Elena, he takes her hands. Trust me, please. Just for 5 more minutes. She looks into his eyes. Sees something there? Certainty, protection, promise. Okay, she whispers. 5 minutes. Marco opens the door. Every head turns. Robert Kaiser stands immediately. Miss Torres, thank you for coming. Elena says nothing. Can't speak. Robert glances at Marco, who nods once. Miss Torres, Robert's voice cracks. He clears his throat. Starts again. I owe you an apology. A real one. Not a press release. Not corporate speak. Just the truth. He takes a breath. What my son did to you was unconscionable. Cruel. Unforgivable. And what I did standing by, doing nothing, then blaming you, was worse. Because I'm his father. I should have taught him better. I should have stopped him. I should have defended you. Elena's hands shake. Marco steps closer to her side. I let my desire to protect my son override basic human decency. And for that, I am profoundly sorry. Robert looks directly at her. You deserved respect, dignity, protection. You got none of those things from us. Ryan stands. He looks like he hasn't slept in days. I was drunk, he says. But that's not an excuse. It's just a fact. The truth is, I've gone through life thinking people like you don't matter, that I can do whatever I want because of my last name. His voice wavers. I was wrong. And I'm sorry. What I did to you was cruel. It was bullying. And you didn't deserve it. Elena stares at them. These men who destroyed her a week ago are standing before her, broken. Tomorrow, Robert continues, we're holding a press conference. We're going to apologize to you publicly, on camera, and we're going to announce a $50 million donation to the Hospitality Workers Relief Fund in your name. Elena's knees nearly give out. 50 million. Additionally, Gerald the lawyer speaks up. Kaiser Development is transferring ownership stakes in one of our properties to a charity of your choosing. All of this is documented, legally binding, and will be executed by end of business today. She can't process this. Can't breathe. Why? She whispers. Why now? Robert glances at Marco. Because someone made us understand that actions have consequences. and that some things matter more than protecting our reputation. Elena turns to Marco. You did this. They did this. Marco says quietly. I just encouraged them. How? Does it matter? She studies his face, sees the truth he's not saying. This man, this quiet, powerful man, went to war for her, dismantled an empire for her, changed the world for her. Thank you, she says to the Kaisers, for the apology. It's not enough, Robert says. It'll never be enough. But it's a start. Elena nods, turns to leave. Miss Torres, Ryan calls out. She pauses. For what it's worth. I am sorry. Really. And I'm going to spend a very long time learning why what I did was wrong. She looks at him. This boy. Because he is a boy, despite being 27. Finally understanding that his actions matter. Good, she says simply. You should. Marco walks her out. In the elevator, she finally breaks. Sobs rack her body. Marco pulls her into his arms, holds her while she cries. It's okay, he murmurs. It's over. They apologized. You won. I won? She pulls back, looks at him through tears. Marco, what did you do? What needed to be done? That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give you. The elevator reaches the ground floor. Marco leads her outside, to a bench in the plaza. I need you to understand something, he says. Everything I did legally, aggressively, but legally. No one was hurt. No laws were broken. But you did something. I reminded the Kaisers, who actually runs this city. And it's not them. Elena stares at him. Who are you? Really? I'm Marco Caruso. I own some buildings. I have some connections. I use them to protect people I care about. People you care about, she repeats. Is that what I am? He meets her eyes. You're someone I respect. Someone I want to protect. Someone. He stops. Someone you what? Someone I think about more than I should. Her breath catches. Marco, I know this is complicated. I'm technically your employer, even if indirectly, and we barely know each other, and I just did something that probably terrifies you. It does terrify me. I'm sorry. Don't be. She takes his hand. I'm terrified because I like you. A lot. And you just moved heaven and earth for me. And I don't know how to process that. So don't. Not yet. Just let yourself be happy that you got justice. The rest we can figure out later. Can we? I hope so. They sit in silence, hands intertwined. After a long moment, Elena says, My mother wants you to come for dinner. Marco smiles. Does she? She's very insistent. Says any man who brings her Lirios and arranges car service deserves homemade pozole. I love pozole. Then it's a date. Is it? He looks at her carefully. Because if it's a date, I need to know. So I can bring flowers for you this time. Not just your mother. Elena's heart pounds. It's a date. Good. He stands, helps her up. Tomorrow, after the press conference, I'll pick you up at 7. Marco? Yeah? Thank you. For everything. Stop thanking me. He cups her face gently. You deserved justice. I just made sure you got it. He walks her to a cab, pays the driver, watches until she's out of sight. Leon appears from the building entrance. Boss, the contracts are signed. Everything's official. 50 million to charity. 15% ownership stake transferred. Press conference scheduled for tomorrow noon. Good. You really going to her mother's for dinner? I am. Leon grins. You're falling for her. Don't be ridiculous, boss. You just took down a billion-dollar company to protect her. If that's not love, I don't know what is. Marco doesn't answer. Because Leon might be right, and that terrifies him more than any business deal ever has. Elena's mother takes one look at her face and knows. Misha, what happened? Elena tells her everything. The meeting, the apology, the $50 million. The press conference tomorrow. Carmen listens without interrupting. When Elena finishes, her mother says quietly, And Marco arranged all this? I think so. He won't tell me exactly what he did. But, yes, I think he did. He's a powerful man. I know. More powerful than he lets on. I know that too. Carmen studies her daughter. And you're falling in love with him. Mama, don't lie to me. I'm your mother. I see these things. Elena collapses onto the couch. What if he's dangerous? What if he did something terrible to make this happen? Did he hurt anyone? He says he didn't, says everything was legal. Do you believe him? Yes, I do. Then what's the problem? The problem is, I don't know who he really is. He owns hotels and buildings, and apparently controls half the city, but he acts like he's just a normal guy. He's kind to you, he's gentle with me, but he's also capable of destroying a family empire in a week. Carmen reaches over, takes her hand. Misha, powerful men can be good men. The two aren't mutually exclusive. But what if he's not? What if I'm falling for someone who's what? Who uses his power to protect people who can't protect themselves? Who makes sure your mother gets to her dialysis appointments? Who saw you at your lowest and decided to lift you up instead of walking past? But listen to me. Kemen's voice is firm. I'm dying, Misha. The doctors don't say it out loud. But I know. Kidney failure. It's just a matter of time. Mama, don't. I need to know you'll be okay when I'm gone. That someone will look after you the way you've looked after me. Her eyes fill with tears. Marco Caruso is that someone. I saw it the moment he walked through our door. That man would burn the world down for you. That's what I'm afraid of. Don't be. Be grateful. Men who care that deeply are rare. Don't push him away because you're scared. Elena wipes her eyes. What if he breaks my heart? Then you heal. But what if he doesn't? What if he's exactly what he seems? A good man with power who chooses to use it for good. Is that possible? With him? Yes. I think it is. They sit together, mother and daughter, holding hands in the fading light. Tell me about this dinner, Carmen says finally. What should I make? Elena laughs, through tears. He said he loves pozole. Then pozole it is. And flan. Men love flan. Ama, this isn't a seduction dinner, isn't it? Carmen smiles. Then why are you blushing? That night, Elena can't sleep. Tomorrow is the press conference. Tomorrow, the Kaisers apologize publicly. Tomorrow, she gets the vindication she thought she'd never see. So why does she feel so empty? She pulls out her phone. 3:42. Too early to call anyone. But then her phone buzzes. Marco. Can't sleep? Elena. How did you know? Marco. Because I can't either. Too much happening. Elena. I keep thinking about what you did. What it must have taken. Marco. Don't think about that. Think about tomorrow. About justice. Elena. Who are you, Marco Caruso? Long pause. She thinks he won't answer. Then. Can I come over? Elena. Now? It's 4 a.m. Marco. I know. But I need to see you. To explain. If you'll let me. Her heart pounds. Elena. My mother's apartment. You know the address. Marco. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Elena changes into clean clothes. Brushes her hair. Tells herself this isn't a big deal. 20 minutes later. There's a soft knock. She opens the door. Marco stands in the hallway. Hair slightly mussed. Wearing jeans and a t-shirt. More casual than she's ever seen him. More human. Hi, he says. Hi. Can we talk? Maybe on the roof? I don't want to wake your mother. They take the stairs to the roof. The city spreads before them, lights twinkling in the pre-dawn darkness. I wasn't entirely honest with you, Marco says without preamble. Elena's stomach drops. About what? About who I am. What I do. He takes a breath. I'm not just a hotel owner. Elena, I control most of the construction supply in New York. Cement, steel, permits, unions. If you build in this city, you go through me. I know. He blinks. You know? I figured it out. The way the Kaisers looked at you. The way they folded so completely. You had to be more than just a hotel owner. And you're not scared? I'm terrified. Of me? Of caring about you. She faces him. Because you did something impossible for me. You gave me justice. And now, I don't know if what I feel is real or just gratitude. What do you feel? Like I'm standing on the edge of something. And if I step forward, everything changes. And if I step back, I lose something I might never find again. Marco steps closer. For what it's worth, I'm standing on the same edge. Are you? I spent 15 years building an empire in the shadows. Staying invisible. Staying safe. And then I saw that video of you. And something inside me just. He struggles for words. Broke. I couldn't stand by and do nothing. Not to you. Why me? Because you reminded me of my mother, of every person who's been crushed by people with power. And I thought, not this time. This time, the powerful lose. So you destroyed them. I didn't destroy them. I taught them accountability. There's a difference. Elena laughs softly. You're a dangerous man, Marco Caruso. Only to people who hurt the people I care about. And you care about me. More than I should. More than is smart. He takes her hand. Elena, I know this is complicated. I know we barely know each other, but I need you to know everything I did because it was right. Not because I wanted something from you. I know that. And whatever happens between us, if anything happens, it's separate from the business. You don't owe me anything. Not gratitude. Not affection. Nothing. What if I want to give you something anyway? What? A chance. To get to know each other without empires, and revenge and press conferences. Just two people. Marco's breath catches. I'd like that. Good. She squeezes his hand. Because my mother's making pozole tonight, and she's very excited to interrogate you properly. He laughs. Should I be nervous? Absolutely. She's terrifying when she wants to be. They stand on the roof as the sun begins to rise over Queens. And for the first time since that night at the hotel, Elena feels something other than fear. She feels hope. The Kaiser development offices are packed with reporters. CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, every major outlet in the city. Elena stands in the back with Marco. She insisted on being here, on seeing this through. At noon exactly, Robert and Ryan Kaiser walk to the podium. No PR team. No lawyers flanking them. Just two men facing consequences. Robert speaks first. Thank you for coming. We called this press conference to address an incident that occurred last week at a charity gala. He pauses, visibly gathers himself. My son Ryan poured champagne on a waitress named Elena Torres. He did this deliberately, while his friends recorded it, and laughed. I was present, I witnessed the entire incident, and I did nothing to stop it. The room is silent, except for camera clicks. Following the incident, our company released a statement, suggesting Miss Torres had behaved unprofessionally. That statement was false. Miss Torres did nothing wrong. She was simply doing her job when my son decided to humiliate her for entertainment. Robert looks directly at the camera. What my son did was unacceptable. What I did, standing by, then blaming the victim, was equally unacceptable. We allowed our wealth and privilege to convince us that other people's dignity didn't matter. We were catastrophically wrong. He turns, gestures for Elena to come forward. She freezes. Go, Marco whispers. This is your moment. Elena walks to the front. Every camera swings toward her. Robert extends his hand. Miss Torres, I am profoundly sorry. You deserved respect, dignity, and basic human decency. Instead, you received cruelty and injustice. There is no excuse for what happened to you. Not. Elena shakes his hand. Stiffly, formally. Ryan steps forward. I was drunk, but that's not an excuse. I humiliated you because I thought it was funny. Because I've gone through life treating people as entertainment, as things that don't matter. His voice cracks. What I did to you was wrong. Completely wrong. And I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry. A reporter shouts, Miss Torres, do you accept their apology? Every eye turns to Elena. She thinks about that night. The cold champagne, the laughter, the moment she stopped being a person and became a viral video. Then she thinks about her mother, about Marco, about the fact that she's standing here at all. I accept your apology, she says quietly. Not because what you did is forgivable, but because everyone deserves a chance to be better than their worst moment. She pauses. But to everyone watching, this shouldn't have taken a viral video. It shouldn't have taken public outrage. People who work in service industries deserve respect every single day, not just when cameras are watching. The reporters explode with questions. Elena turns and walks back to Marco. He's smiling. Proud. You were perfect, he whispers. I'm shaking. I know. But you were perfect anyway. Robert continues. Additionally, Kaiser Development is donating $50 million to the Hospitality Workers Relief Fund. This donation will help service industry workers facing harassment and abuse. It's a small step toward making things right. The press conference continues for another 20 minutes. Questions, answers, accountability. By the time it ends, the video has already been uploaded. Within an hour, it has 10 million views. The narrative shifts. Not rich boy humiliates Waitress, but powerful family faces consequences. Justice. Real. Visible. Documented justice. Marco arrives at 7 p.m. exactly, carrying flowers, roses this time, red and beautiful. For your mother or for me? Elena asks, opening the door. Your mother gets Lirios? You get roses? He hands them to her. Their fingers brush. Electricity. Come in. She's been cooking all day. Carmen's apartment smells like heaven. Pozole simmering. Fresh tortillas. The spices of home. Marco. Carmen calls from the kitchen. Come. Come. Sit. Tell me everything. They eat together. Elena, Marco, and Carmen. Like a family. Marco tells stories about growing up in Brooklyn. About his mother. About learning construction from his father before he died. Carmen tells stories about Elena as a child. Embarrassing ones. Elena wants to die, but Marco laughs. Really laughs. And looks at Elena like she's the most interesting person in the world. After dinner, Carmen excuses herself. I'm tired. Mejos, you young people stay. Talk. She's not tired. She's matchmaking. Elena and Marco wash dishes together. Domestic. Normal. Your mother's wonderful. Marco said. She likes you. Good. Because I like her. And me? Elena asks, surprising herself with her boldness. Do you like me? Marco sets down the dish he's washing. Turns to face her. Elena Torres. I've thought about you every day for a week. I've rearranged my entire life around making sure you got justice. I can't sleep without knowing you're okay. So yes, I like you. Just like. He steps closer. What do you want me to say? The truth. The truth is I'm falling for you. Hard and fast and probably too soon. And it terrifies me, because I don't do this. I don't let people in. But with you, he reaches up, tucks a strand of hair behind her ear. With you, I want to try. Elena's heart pounds. I'm falling for you too. Yeah? Yeah. Even though you're dangerous and powerful and probably bad for me. I'm not bad for you. No? No. I'm exactly what you need. Someone who sees you, who values you, who will move heaven and earth to keep you safe. That's a lot of pressure, she whispers. Only if you don't want it. I want it. She looks up at him. I want you. Marco's eyes darken. Elena, kiss me. Your mother's in the next room. Then kiss me quietly. He laughs. Soft, tender. Then he cups her face and leans down. The kiss is gentle at first. Testing. Asking permission. Elena gives it by pressing closer. Her hands fisting in his shirt. The kiss deepens. Becomes something more. Something that tastes like promise and possibility and the beginning of everything. When they finally break apart, both breathless, Marco rests his forehead against hers. I've wanted to do that since the first time I saw you in that conference room, he admits. Why didn't you? Because you'd been through enough. You didn't need me complicating things. And now I'm hoping I'm not a complication. I'm hoping I'm a solution. Elena kisses him again. Softer this time. Sweeter. You're definitely a solution. From the other room, Carmen calls out. Did he kiss you yet, Misha? Elena's face burns. Mama. What? I'm not blind. I can hear the silence. That's kissing silence. Marco laughs so hard he has to sit down. Elena buries her face in her hands. I'm so sorry. Don't be. He pulls her onto his lap. Your mother's perfect. Just like you. They stay like that, wrapped in each other, while Carmen hums in the other room, pleased with herself. The viral video has been replaced by new scandals. The world moves on, but some things have changed permanently. Elena Torres is now assistant manager of the Riverside Grand. She's good at it, really good. The staff sprecs her. The guests appreciate her professionalism. And she goes home every night to her own apartment, the new one Marco helped her find, closer to her mother, with space and light and dignity. Carmen's dialysis appointments are never missed. The car service is perfect. Ryan Kaiser has disappeared from public life. works in a basement office of Kaiser Development, reviewing contracts nobody else wants to touch. Robert Kaiser attends every charity board meeting for the Hospitality Workers Relief Fund, makes good on his promises. And Marco Caruso. Marco is at Elena's apartment 3 nights a week. They cook together, watch movies, talk until dawn. They're taking it slow, learning each other, building something real. On this particular evening, they're on her couch, her head on his chest, his fingers running through her hair. Can I ask you something? Elena says, always. That week, when you destroyed the Kaisers, did you enjoy it? Marco is quiet for a long moment. Honestly, yes. I enjoyed watching them panic, watching them realize they weren't untouchable. He pauses. But what I enjoyed more was seeing you get justice, seeing you stand at that press conference with your head high. I couldn't have done that without you. Yes, you could have. You're stronger than you know. Maybe. But I didn't have to be strong alone. You made sure of that. He tilts her face up to his. I'll always make sure of that. For as long as you'll let me. That's a big promise. I'm a man who keeps his promises. I've noticed. She kisses him, soft and lingering. Marco? Hmm? I love you. He goes still. Say that again. I love you. I know it's fast, and probably crazy. I love you too. He says it like a vow. I've loved you since I watched you stand in that ballroom dripping with champagne and refuse to cry. You're the strongest person I know. And I love you. Even though I'm complicated, especially because you're complicated. He grins. Boring people don't interest me. They kiss. Long and deep and full of promise. When they finally break apart, Elena says, my mother wants to know when you're going to propose. Marco chokes. What? She says a man who brings flowers twice a week and looks at her daughter like that has intentions, and she wants to know what those intentions are. We've been dating for 2 weeks. I know. I told her that. She said, when you know, you know. Marco laughs, pulling her closer. Your mother is not subtle. She's dying. She doesn't have time for subtle. His expression sobers. How is she? Really? Stable. For now. But the doctors say. Elena's voice cracks. Maybe 6 months? Maybe a year. Then we make them the best 6 months of her life. We, you and me, together. He kisses her forehead. I'm not going anywhere, Elena. Not now. Not ever. What if I drive you crazy? You already do. I like it. What if we fight? Then we make up. Repeatedly. What if? He silences her with a kiss. Stop looking for reasons this won't work. Start believing it will. Okay, she whispers. Okay. They sit in comfortable silence, wrapped in each other, while the city buzzes outside. 2 people from different worlds. One brought to her knees by cruelty. One powerful enough to remake the world. Both of them learning that sometimes justice and love are the same thing. 3 months later, the Riverside Grand Hotel ballroom sparkles just like it did that night. But tonight is different. Tonight, Elena Torres stands at the center of the room in a deep blue dress, hair swept up, confidence radiating. She's hosting the Hospitality Workers Relief Fund Gala. The same ballroom where she was humiliated is now the site of her triumph. Marco watches from the bar, pride written all over his face. Leon appears beside him. You're staring, boss. Can you blame me? No. She's incredible. And she has no idea you donated half of tonight's proceeds, anonymously. She doesn't need to know. You really love her. More than I thought possible. On stage, Elena speaks into the microphone. Thank you all for coming tonight. This fund exists because people like you believe that every worker deserves dignity. That service doesn't mean servitude. That respect is a right, not a privilege. She pauses, her eyes finding Marco's across the room. 3 months ago, I was humiliated in this room. A viral video, millions of views. The worst moment of my life. The crowd is silent, but from that moment came something unexpected. Change. Not just personal change, but systemic change. The Hospitality Workers Relief Fund has already helped 200 workers facing harassment, assault, and abuse. We've provided legal aid, counseling, and financial support. She smiles. So tonight isn't about what happened to me. It's about what happened because of me. About turning pain into purpose. About making sure no one else has to face what I faced alone. The ballroom erupts in applause. Elena steps down from the stage, makes her way through the crowd. She reaches Marco. Was that okay? She asks. You were perfect. I'm shaking. I know. He takes her hand. But you did it anyway. They dance. Right there in the ballroom where everything began. And Elena realizes she's not invisible anymore. She's not the waitress who got destroyed. She's Elena Torres, assistant manager, advocate, fighter. And she's loved by a man who would burn the world down for her, but who loves her enough to build it up instead. Carmen watches from a table near the front, oxygen tube in place, eyes bright with pride. She won't live to see them married, but she'll know her daughter is safe, loved, protected. That's enough. 6 months later, Carmen Torres passes away peacefully in her sleep, holding Elena's hand. Marco is there, organizes the funeral, pays for everything Elena won't let him pay for, holds her while she cries. They scatter Carmen's ashes in the garden she loved in Queens. And on the headstone, Marco has engraved, Carmen Torres, beloved mother. She raised a queen. 1 year after the video, Elena and Marco sit on the roof of her building. Their building now, since he bought it 6 months ago and renovated every apartment. I've been thinking, Marco said. Dangerous. About your mother. About what she said. About intentions. Elena's heart starts to pound. Yeah. Marco reaches into his pocket, pulls out a small velvet box. Your mother was right. When you know, you know. He opens the box. A simple diamond ring, elegant and perfect. Elena Torres, will you marry me? She stares at the ring, at this man who destroyed an empire for her, who held her while she grieved, who shows up every day with quiet consistency and fierce protection. Yes, she whispers. Yes, yes. He slides the ring on her finger, kisses her until they're both breathless. Your mother would be so happy, he murmurs. She knew. Before she died, she told me that man's going to marry you, Misha. Don't make him wait too long. Marco laughs. She was bossy until the end. The best people are. They sit together, watching the sun set over Queens. Two people who found each other in the wreckage of cruelty. Two people who chose love over fear. Two people who proved that sometimes the invisible become unforgettable. And somewhere, Carmen Torres smiles, because her daughter found a man who sees her, really sees her, and that's all any mother could want. 5 years later, the Riverside Grand Hotel has a new plaque in the lobby, the Carmen Torres Memorial Fund. For hospitality workers in need, everyone deserves to be seen. Elena Caruso runs it full-time now. She left the assistant manager position 2 years ago to focus on the foundation. They've helped over 2,000 workers, changed policies in 50 hotels, made dignity a requirement, not a request. Marco still runs his empire, but quieter now, softer. Being loved by Elena taught him that power without compassion is just cruelty by another name. They have a daughter, 3 years old, named Carmen. She has her grandmother's eyes and her mother's strength, and her father spoils her rotten. Ryan Kaiser works in nonprofit management now. Genuinely, he runs workshops on privilege and accountability. It doesn't erase what he did, but it's something. Robert Kaiser retired. Volunteers at homeless shelters twice a week. His empire shrunk, but his soul grew. Some lessons cost everything, but they're worth it. And Elena stands in her mother's garden in Queens, the one Marco had turned into a community space with Carmen's name on it, and thinks about how far she's come. From invisible waitress to visible warrior, from victim to victor, from alone to loved. Marco appears, Carmen on his shoulders. Ready to go home? He asks. Always. They walk together through the garden, past flowers her mother would have loved, toward a life neither of them expected. A life built on justice and love and the fierce belief that everyone deserves to be seen. Elena Torres was humiliated by champagne, but she rose from that moment stronger. Not because she had to, but because someone believed she was worth fighting for. And in the end, that made all the difference.